Have you ever faced someone who seemed determined to bring you down? Perhaps it was a rival at work, a toxic person in your life, or even a situation that felt like it was set against you. The world can often feel like a battlefield, with enemies who seem to stand in the way of our peace, progress, and happiness. But what if there was a way to deal with these challenges without raising your voice, compromising your values, or even engaging in conflict? Too often, we think of overcoming enemies as a fight, a battle that demands aggression, strategy, and a willingness to retaliate. But there is a deeper, more powerful approach that doesn't rely on outward force, but taps into something far greater, the strength of self-control, inner calm, and resilience. This approach is rooted in Stoicism, an ancient philosophy that teaches us how to remain steady, focused, and unshaken in the face of opposition. We've all been there, that moment when someone pushes our buttons and it feels like the only way to win is to fight back. But reacting to every provocation only gives your enemy more power over you. What if, instead, you could stay calm and let their actions roll off you like water? What if the very thing they use to provoke you becomes your source of strength? This isn't just wishful thinking, it's a real strategy that has stood the test of time. Stoicism is not about being passive or weak. On the contrary, it's about cultivating a quiet strength that allows you to stand tall, no matter what life throws your way. It's about knowing that true power comes from within, not from dominating others, and that victory doesn't always look like a fight. Sometimes the greatest triumph is simply not letting your enemy dictate your emotions or actions. In today's fast-paced world, filled with conflict, competition, and constant noise, we need this kind of strength more than ever. Whether it's in the workplace, in our personal relationships, or even within ourselves, enemies can take many forms. Some try to undermine us through manipulation or deceit. Others provoke us with insults or attempts to ruin our reputation. And some simply drain our energy, pulling us into unnecessary drama and distraction. But every time you engage, you lose a bit of your peace, your focus, and your control. The Stoics knew that true freedom comes from mastering yourself, not defeating others. They understood that when you remain calm and focused on your own path, the people trying to pull you down lose their grip. Instead of wasting energy on endless battles, you can rise above the noise and remain focused on your goals. You can transform the way you approach adversity, turning what was meant to break you into something that builds your strength, character, and resilience. Think about this for a moment. What if every challenge was actually an opportunity? What if every difficult person you encountered was a test designed to make you stronger? The Stoics believed this. They saw adversity not as something to fear, but as something to embrace, a chance to prove their inner strength. Instead of dreading their enemies, they viewed them as teachers, offering valuable lessons in patience, self-control, and wisdom. This mindset shift can be incredibly powerful. When you stop seeing your enemy as someone you need to destroy, and instead as a tool for your growth, everything changes. You no longer get pulled into unnecessary conflict. You no longer let others steal your peace or dictate your actions. Instead, you rise above, growing stronger with each encounter. It takes courage to walk this path. It's far easier to lash out, to argue, to engage in the same toxic behaviors that your enemies use against you. But it takes true strength to remain calm, collected, and unshaken. And in doing so, you not only protect your own peace, but you also disarm your enemies in a way they never expected. They may come at you with insults or schemes, but their power over you fades the moment you refuse to play their game. There's a sense of liberation in knowing that you don't have to fight every battle. You don't have to prove yourself to those who try to bring you down. Instead, you can stand firm, rooted in the knowledge that your strength comes from your ability to control yourself, not others. And when you learn to master your own emotions, reactions, and thoughts, you become untouchable. Success, in this context, isn't about defeating others. It's about rising above them. It's about showing that no matter what happens around you, you remain focused on your own journey. Every insult, every challenge, every attempt to derail you becomes fuel for your growth. You are no longer swayed by the opinions or actions of others, because you know that true power lies in your response, not in the situation itself. This kind of strength isn't something that happens overnight. It takes practice, patience, and a commitment to inner growth. But the rewards are immense. When you stop letting others control your peace, when you stop reacting to every provocation, you unlock a level of freedom that few ever achieve. You become a force that cannot be easily shaken, and your enemies, in their attempts to bring you down, end up strengthening you instead. Kindness becomes your weapon. Patience becomes your shield. Success becomes your answer to criticism, and silence becomes your most powerful strategy. These are the tools that allow you to navigate life's challenges without getting dragged into unnecessary conflict. They are the same tools that the great Stoics used to overcome adversity and emerge victorious, not by fighting, but by mastering themselves. The world will always have people who seek to undermine you. There will always be situations that test your patience and provoke your anger. But you have the power to choose how you respond. You can choose to remain calm, focused, and in control. You can choose to see adversity as a chance to grow. And in doing so, you take away the power that others have over you. There is no greater victory than rising above the noise and living your life on your own terms. The moment you stop giving your enemy control over your emotions, actions, and peace of mind is the moment you win. Not through force, not through retaliation, but through the quiet, steady strength of Stoicism. It's time to reclaim that power, to stop letting others dictate how you feel, how you act, and how you live. It's time to rise above and show that the greatest strength lies not in fighting, but in mastering yourself. And once you've mastered that, your enemies will no longer stand a chance. Every step you take in mastering your emotions, living with integrity, practicing indifference, and succeeding on your own terms is a step toward victory. A victory not over others, but over the hold they have on your life. And that, in the end, is the greatest victory of all. So take a deep breath, focus on your own path, and remember, the real battle is within, and once you win that, no enemy can ever defeat you. When faced with a difficult person or situation, it's easy to feel the rush of emotions bubbling up inside: anger, frustration, or even fear. The urge to react, to defend yourself, or to fight back can feel overwhelming. But what if the key to disarming your enemy lies not in reacting, but in staying calm? The ability to master your emotions, to remain composed even when everything around you seems to provoke chaos, is one of the most powerful tools you can use. It's not just about holding your temper, it's about taking control in a way that leaves your enemy powerless. In fact, when you master your emotions, you take away the one thing they rely on: your reaction. Emotions are powerful forces that, if left unchecked, can lead you into unnecessary battles. But when you master your emotions, you control the situation. Instead of letting anger or fear dictate your actions, you can stay calm, observe, and choose the best course of action. This calmness throws off your enemy because they expect you to react emotionally. They are ready for your anger, your frustration, or your retaliation. But when those expected reactions don't come, they are left with no ammunition. You've disarmed them without a single word. Stoicism teaches that our emotions are not dictated by external events, but by our interpretation of those events. This is the cornerstone of emotional mastery. You cannot always control what happens to you, but you can control how you respond. This distinction is critical when dealing with an enemy. When your emotions are under your control, your enemy's power over you diminishes. Let's explore how this works in real life. Think of a situation where someone tried to provoke you. Maybe it was a harsh comment from a colleague, a rude gesture from a stranger, or even an unfair accusation. The natural response is to defend yourself, to lash out, or to prove the other person wrong. But this only fuels the fire. The more you react, the more control you hand over to your enemy. They thrive on your emotional response because it shows they've gotten under your skin. Now, imagine standing firm in those moments, not allowing their words or actions to penetrate your calm. It's not easy, but it's possible. By taking a breath, pausing, and choosing not to react emotionally, you take back control. You become the master of the situation. This calmness doesn't mean you are indifferent or weak. It means you are wise enough to know that your peace of mind is more valuable than winning a temporary argument. When you choose calmness, you make your enemy's attempts to provoke you look foolish. Their insults lose their power because they were designed to get a reaction. Without that reaction, their strategy falls apart. This frustrates them because they expected you to engage in the conflict. But instead, you've remained calm, focused, and composed. The Stoics believed that calmness is a form of strength, and in this moment, you embody that belief. One of the greatest benefits of mastering your emotions is the ability to see situations clearly. When emotions are running high, it's easy to lose perspective. Anger clouds judgment, fear distorts reality, and frustration can lead to poor decisions. But when you are calm, you can assess the situation logically and choose the best response. This clarity of thought is a huge advantage in any conflict. While your enemy is acting out of impulse and emotion, you are able to think strategically and respond in a way that serves your best interests. Mastering your emotions also allows you to maintain control over the long term. It's not just about winning in the moment, but about creating a life where you are not constantly at the mercy of others' actions. Emotional mastery gives you the freedom to move through life without being easily swayed by the negativity or hostility of others. This kind of emotional resilience is not only disarming to your enemies, but it also builds your inner strength. It's important to recognize that mastering your emotions doesn't mean suppressing them. Stoicism is not about ignoring or denying how you feel. It's about acknowledging your emotions without letting them control you. When you feel anger, fear, or frustration, you don't push those feelings away, but you observe them without letting them dictate your actions. You recognize that these emotions are temporary and that you have the power to choose how you respond. One of the most effective ways to practice emotional mastery is through mindfulness. By becoming more aware of your thoughts and emotions as they arise, you can catch yourself before you react impulsively. This simple act of observation creates a space between the trigger and your response, allowing you to choose calmness over chaos. Mindfulness helps you stay grounded, even in the midst of conflict. Another key aspect of mastering your emotions is learning to let go of the need to control everything. Often, we get emotionally caught up in situations because we are trying to force a particular outcome. We want things to go our way, and when they don't, we become frustrated. But Stoicism teaches that we cannot control external events, only our response to them. By accepting this, you free yourself from the emotional turmoil that comes from trying to control the uncontrollable. In conflict, letting go of control doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you focus on what is within your power, your emotions, your actions, and your thoughts. When you stop trying to control your enemy's actions or reactions, you free yourself from the frustration that comes from their behavior. Instead of being emotionally tied to their every move, you remain calm and focused on your own path. This approach not only disarms your enemy, but also protects your peace of mind. When you master your emotions, you no longer let others dictate how you feel or act. This is a form of freedom that is incredibly powerful. No matter what happens around you, no matter how others try to provoke you, you remain in control of your inner world. And this control is the ultimate strength. One of the most surprising outcomes of mastering your emotions is how it affects the people around you. When others see that you are not easily provoked, they begin to treat you with more respect. They understand that you are not someone who can be easily manipulated or swayed by petty arguments or provocations. This changes the dynamic of the relationship. Even those who once sought to undermine you will begin to see you differently, as someone who is calm, composed, and unshaken by external events. This shift in perception can often lead to a resolution of conflicts without you having to do anything. By maintaining your emotional calmness, you set a tone that others are forced to follow. Your enemy may begin to rethink their approach, realizing that their efforts to provoke you are futile. Over time, they may even give up entirely, understanding that you are someone who cannot be easily rattled. Stoicism offers a timeless strategy for dealing with enemies, one that is based not on aggression or confrontation, but on the mastery of your inner world. By remaining calm in the face of adversity, you disarm your enemy's intentions and protect your peace. This is not an easy path, but it is a powerful one. It requires patience, practice, and a deep commitment to self-control. But the rewards are worth it. You gain not only the ability to neutralize your enemies, but also the freedom to live without being constantly affected by the negativity around you. You become someone who is in control of their emotions, their actions, and their life. And that is a power that no enemy can ever take away from you. In mastering your emotions, you gain more than just a temporary victory over your enemies. You gain a lasting sense of peace, strength, and resilience. This inner calm becomes your greatest defense, allowing you to navigate life's challenges without getting caught up in the emotional storms that others try to create. You become the eye of the storm, calm, focused, and untouchable. The power to disarm your enemy without fighting lies not in outward actions, but in mastering your inner self. When you control your emotions, you control the conflict. You are no longer a puppet reacting to the strings your enemy tries to pull. Instead, you stand firm, grounded in your calmness and clarity. And in doing so, you take away the one thing your enemy needs to defeat you, your reaction. In mastering your emotions, you've taken the first essential step toward disarming your enemies, stripping them of their power by refusing to be provoked. But control over your inner world isn't the only defense you have. There's another, deeper strategy that is both powerful and subtle. When you live with integrity, you create a shield that your enemies cannot penetrate. They may try to slander you, trick you, or manipulate you, but their efforts will crumble against the strength of your character. This strategy isn't about outsmarting others or playing games. It's about living so authentically and in line with your values that no amount of malice can tarnish your reputation or disturb your peace. Integrity is the cornerstone of Stoic philosophy. The Stoics believed that living according to virtue, embracing wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance is the key to a good life. When you align yourself with these virtues, your actions reflect a deep moral strength. Enemies may throw accusations or insults your way, but they cannot stick because your integrity speaks louder than their words. The power of virtue lies in its unshakable nature. When you live with virtue, you aren't swayed by the opinions or attacks of others. Instead, your life becomes a reflection of values so strong that malice fades into insignificance. Integrity is a force that operates silently yet powerfully. It doesn't need to announce itself or prove itself in grand gestures. It shows itself through consistent, everyday actions. The way you treat others, the decisions you make, the honesty with which you live. These are the quiet indicators of integrity that build your defense against malicious intent. When others see that your actions consistently align with your values, they trust you, and that trust becomes a barrier between you and your enemies. They may try to undermine you, but their attempts will appear hollow against the backdrop of your integrity. Living with integrity isn't always easy, especially when faced with opposition. There will be moments when it seems easier to bend the truth, take shortcuts, or act out of fear. But Stoicism teaches that virtue is the highest good, and that nothing external can truly harm you if you stay true to your values. When you choose to live with integrity, even in difficult circumstances, you create a foundation of respect and strength that others cannot tear down. Integrity doesn't just protect you from external attacks. It strengthens your sense of self-worth and confidence, knowing that you've acted in accordance with your principles. The most important thing to understand about integrity is that it isn't just about appearing virtuous in public. It's about being virtuous in private, in the moments when no one is watching. Stoicism teaches that true virtue is internal. It's not something done for the sake of recognition, but for the sake of living well. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus emphasized that external things, wealth, reputation, and power, are beyond our control, but our inner virtues are always within our control. Living with integrity means focusing on what you can control, your own actions and character, rather than worrying about how others perceive you. Enemies often rely on creating doubt. They try to erode your reputation by casting suspicion or spreading rumors. But when you live with unwavering integrity, their efforts will backfire. People will see through their malice because your character has already spoken for itself. Integrity is like a fortress. When it is strong, no external attack can bring it down. And even if others succeed in damaging your reputation temporarily, integrity ensures that the truth will eventually come to light. People will always return to trust those who have shown consistent virtue over time, regardless of the lies spread about them. There's another aspect of integrity that is essential to defeating enemies: fairness. Living with justice, treating others fairly and with respect, makes you untouchable in many ways. Those who try to harm you will find it difficult to gain allies because fairness breeds loyalty. When you treat people justly, they will be more likely to defend you against any malicious attacks. Enemies who operate through deceit and manipulation often find themselves isolated because, in contrast to your fairness, their actions seem petty and unjust. Living with justice is not just about following laws, but about embodying moral fairness in everything you do. This fairness not only strengthens your position, but also exposes the weaknesses in your enemy's tactics. One of the key elements of Stoic integrity is temperance, or self-control. When you live with self-discipline, you resist the urge to retaliate impulsively or to indulge in behaviors that go against your values. Temperance keeps you from being pulled into traps that your enemies might set for you. They may try to provoke you into anger or get you to act rashly, hoping to catch you in a moment of weakness. But with temperance, you maintain control over yourself, refusing to be manipulated by their tactics. Your restraint becomes another form of disarmament, showing that you are not swayed by their provocations. Courage is another Stoic virtue that strengthens integrity. Living with courage doesn't necessarily mean facing physical danger. It means standing up for your principles, even when it's difficult or unpopular. Enemies often rely on fear to control others. They may try to intimidate you, either through threats or through more subtle means, like undermining your confidence. But when you live with courage, you refuse to back down in the face of fear. Your courage shows that you value your principles more than your comfort or safety, which makes you a formidable opponent. Fear is one of the main tools that malicious people use to control others, but it loses its power over someone who has the courage to stand firm in their beliefs. One of the most powerful things about living with integrity is the impact it has on others. Your example sets a standard that people around you notice. When you consistently act with virtue, you inspire others to do the same. This doesn't just protect you from enemies, it creates an environment where malice has no place to thrive. People are less likely to support or believe your enemies when they've seen firsthand the strength of your character. In this way, living with integrity not only disarms your enemies, but also weakens their influence over others. They become isolated in their attempts to harm you because your actions have already built a network of trust and respect. Living with integrity also means accepting responsibility for your actions. There will be times when you make mistakes, and your enemies may try to use these mistakes against you. But when you are willing to acknowledge your errors and take responsibility for them, you show a strength that your enemies cannot exploit. Instead of trying to hide or deny your faults, you face them with honesty and humility. This makes it difficult for your enemies to manipulate the situation because you have already taken ownership of your actions. Integrity means being truthful not only with others, but with yourself. When you live with this kind of honesty, you take away the power your enemies might have to use your mistakes against you. Integrity is not just about avoiding wrongdoing, it's about actively doing what is right, even when no one is watching. It's about being the kind of person who others can rely on, even in difficult situations. This builds a reputation that your enemies cannot easily tear down. Over time, people come to know you for your honesty, fairness, and consistency. When your actions are consistently aligned with your values, it becomes clear to others that you are someone who can be trusted. This trust is a form of power that protects you from malicious attacks. Enemies often operate by trying to undermine trust. They may spread rumors, lie, or try to create doubt about your character. But when you have lived with integrity, people are more likely to question the malice of your enemies than to believe their lies. Integrity builds a foundation that cannot be easily shaken. Even when your enemies try to tear you down, your consistent behavior will speak louder than their accusations. Living with integrity requires patience. There may be times when your integrity is tested, and it seems like your enemies are succeeding in their attempts to harm you. But Stoicism teaches the importance of long-term thinking. Virtue is not about short-term gains, but about living a life that is meaningful and fulfilling over time. In the end, those who live with integrity will outlast those who operate through deceit and malice. While your enemies may gain temporary victories, they will ultimately lose because they lack the moral foundation that sustains long-term success. Living with integrity also gives you peace of mind. When you know that you have acted in accordance with your values, you can rest easy, even when others try to attack you. Your conscience is clear, and this internal peace is something that your enemies cannot take from you. In contrast, those who operate through deceit are often plagued by their own guilt or fear of being exposed. Integrity allows you to live without the burden of guilt or regret, which is a form of freedom that malicious people cannot experience. This inner peace is one of the greatest strengths that integrity offers. When you are at peace with yourself, you are less vulnerable to the attacks of others. Their attempts to harm you seem less significant because you are not weighed down by doubt or guilt. You can face their attacks with a sense of calm and confidence, knowing that you have lived according to your principles. This peace is a kind of armor that protects you from the malice of others, making it difficult for them to affect you. Ultimately, living with integrity is about choosing a path that leads to long-term fulfillment rather than short-term gains. It's about valuing virtue over success, knowing that true success comes from living a life that is meaningful and aligned with your values. While your enemies may try to undermine you, their efforts will ultimately fail because they are built on a foundation of deceit and malice which cannot stand the test of time. Integrity, on the other hand, is a foundation that grows stronger with every virtuous action you take. In mastering your emotions and living with integrity, you build an unshakable defense against those who seek to harm you. They may continue their efforts, but their attacks will become less and less effective. Over time, they will realize that their malice cannot reach you. You've built a life based on virtue, and that is something no enemy can ever destroy. Having built your life on a foundation of integrity, you've already dismantled much of your enemy's power. By standing firm in your values, you've made it clear that no amount of malice can shake you. But there's another layer to this defense that can further protect your peace: indifference. This is not about being cold or uncaring, but about refusing to give away your emotional energy to those who seek to disrupt your life. Your enemy thrives on the hope that they can affect you, manipulate you, or provoke a reaction. What happens when you simply refuse to care? When you practice indifference, you take away the power they thought they had over you. They expect you to engage, to retaliate, or to be disturbed, but instead, you remain unaffected, calm, and focused on what truly matters. Indifference is not an easy concept to grasp in a world that encourages constant reaction. We are taught from a young age to defend ourselves, to fight back, to always have the last word. But Stoicism offers a different perspective, one that is far more powerful. Indifference means understanding that not everything deserves your attention or energy. Your enemy wants you to care about their insults, their provocations, their attempts to undermine you. They want to stir your emotions because when they do, they gain control. But when you practice indifference, you show them that their words and actions have no power over you. The power of indifference lies in its simplicity. When you choose not to react, not to let external events dictate your inner state, you reclaim your freedom. You no longer allow your enemy's malice to dictate how you feel or act. Instead, you focus on what truly matters: your own peace of mind, your goals, and the things you value. Your enemy loses their grip on you because they no longer have the ability to provoke a reaction. Indifference is not about ignoring everything around you or becoming detached from the world. It's about carefully choosing where you invest your emotional energy. Stoicism teaches that we have control only over our own actions and thoughts, not over external events or other people. By accepting this, you free yourself from the constant need to react to others. Your enemy's attempts to provoke you are external events, things you cannot control. What you can control is how you respond or don't respond. When you practice indifference, you become like a mountain in the storm. The wind and rain may batter against you, but you remain unmoved. Your enemy may throw insults or slander, but they bounce off the surface because you have chosen not to let them penetrate. This level of control is empowering. It allows you to stay focused on your own path, undistracted by the noise around you. One of the greatest benefits of indifference is the mental clarity it provides. When you stop caring about the opinions and actions of those who seek to harm you, your mind is freed from unnecessary clutter. You no longer waste time and energy worrying about what others are saying or plotting against you. Instead, you can focus on your own life, your goals, and the things that bring you fulfillment. Your enemy's efforts to disturb you become meaningless because you have detached yourself from their influence. Practicing indifference also protects your emotional well-being. Enemies often try to stir negative emotions, anger, frustration, fear. because they know these emotions cloud your judgment and weaken your resolve. But when you are indifferent, those emotions no longer have a place in your mind. You choose not to engage with the negativity. Instead, you cultivate a sense of inner peace that your enemy cannot disrupt. Indifference does not mean that you are passive or that you accept injustice. It means that you understand the difference between what is within your control and what is not. You cannot control your enemy's behavior, but you can control whether or not you let their behavior affect you. By practicing indifference, you show that you value your peace of mind more than engaging in pointless conflict. This makes you untouchable because your enemy cannot draw you into their game. There is strength in refusing to react. Your enemy may try to provoke you, but their efforts will seem increasingly desperate as they realize that you are unaffected. They expect you to be drawn into their drama, to respond with anger or retaliation. But when you remain calm and indifferent, their power over you evaporates. They are left with nothing to hold on to because you have refused to give them the emotional response they crave. Indifference also allows you to maintain your focus on the bigger picture. Enemies often try to distract you from your goals, hoping to pull you into petty conflicts that waste your time and energy. But when you practice indifference, you stay focused on what truly matters. You don't let yourself be dragged down by minor provocations or insults. Instead, you keep moving forward, undeterred by the attempts of others to slow you down. This approach to indifference is not about being emotionless. It's about being selective with your emotions, choosing to invest them in things that are worthy of your attention and care. When you practice indifference toward your enemy's malice, you free up emotional energy to invest in the people and activities that bring you joy and fulfillment. Instead of wasting energy on conflicts, you use it to build a better life for yourself. Indifference also makes it harder for your enemy to predict your actions. When you don't react to their provocations, they are left uncertain about how to approach you. They may try different tactics, hoping to get a response, but your indifference keeps them guessing. This unpredictability frustrates your enemy because they cannot control or influence you the way they hoped. It creates a sense of powerlessness in them, while you remain in control of your own actions and emotions. One of the key elements of practicing indifference is understanding that your enemy's opinion of you does not define who you are. Stoicism teaches that we should not be swayed by the praise or criticism of others because neither is truly within our control. Your enemy may try to undermine your self-worth by attacking your character or abilities, but their opinion is ultimately irrelevant. What matters is how you view yourself and whether you are living in accordance with your values. When you are indifferent to the opinions of others, you become immune to their attempts to diminish your self-worth. Indifference also helps you maintain emotional stability in difficult situations. When faced with adversity, many people become overwhelmed by stress, anxiety, or fear. But when you practice indifference, you approach challenges with a calm and steady mindset. You understand that external events cannot control your internal state unless you allow them to. This makes you more resilient in the face of difficulties because you do not allow your emotions to be swayed by every obstacle that comes your way. In practicing indifference, you also learn the art of letting go. Many conflicts are fueled by a desire to control outcomes or to change the behavior of others. But Stoicism teaches that we cannot control external events or people. By accepting this, you free yourself from the need to force situations to go your way. You stop trying to control your enemy's actions or reactions and instead focus on controlling your own responses. This shift in mindset allows you to let go of the need to win every battle or prove yourself in every conflict. You understand that true power lies in your ability to remain calm and focused, regardless of what others do. Indifference is a form of liberation. It frees you from the emotional chains that others try to place on you. Your enemy may want you to feel angry, hurt, or frustrated, but when you practice indifference, you refuse to give them that satisfaction. You rise above their attempts to control your emotions, and in doing so, you take back your power. You become the master of your own mind, no longer swayed by the actions or words of others. Over time, your indifference will change the dynamic of your relationships with your enemies. They will realize that their efforts to provoke you are futile. They may continue to try for a while, but eventually they will give up because they see that you are not moved by their malice. This doesn't mean that they will stop being your enemy, but it does mean that their power over you will diminish significantly. Your indifference creates a barrier between you and their negativity, allowing you to live your life without being constantly affected by their actions. Indifference also fosters a sense of inner peace that is difficult for your enemies to disrupt. When you practice indifference, you create a mental space where you can remain calm and centered, even in the midst of conflict. This peace comes from knowing that your enemy's actions cannot control your emotions or dictate your life. You are in control of your own inner state, and nothing they do can change that. This sense of peace is a powerful defense against malice because it allows you to remain steady and focused no matter what challenges come your way. By practicing indifference, you also cultivate a sense of freedom from external validation. Many people become trapped in the need for approval from others, constantly seeking validation for their actions or decisions. But Stoicism teaches that true freedom comes from within, not from the opinions of others. When you are indifferent to what your enemy thinks of you, you free yourself from the need for their approval. You stop seeking validation from those who do not have your best interests at heart, and instead focus on living a life that is true to your own values and principles. Indifference allows you to move through life with a sense of calm confidence, knowing that you are not easily swayed by the actions or words of others. It gives you the strength to face your enemies without fear or anxiety, because you know that their attempts to provoke you will fail. Your emotional energy is no longer wasted on pointless conflicts or reactions to negativity. Instead, you can invest that energy in the things that truly matter to you, creating a life that is fulfilling and peaceful. The practice of indifference is not about turning away from the world or avoiding conflict. It is about choosing how to engage with the world on your own terms. It is about understanding that not everything deserves your attention or emotional investment. By practicing indifference, you take back control of your life, refusing to let your enemies dictate how you feel or act. You become untouchable, not because you are invulnerable, but because you have chosen not to give your power away. And in doing so, you disarm your enemies in the most powerful way possible. Having mastered indifference and learned to protect your peace by not giving power to your enemy's provocations, you have built a solid defense. But there is another way to undermine the efforts of those who seek to harm or criticize you by succeeding in your own right. While they may try to drag you down with insults or opposition, achieving your goals is the ultimate answer to any criticism. Success is a language that transcends words. It speaks for itself and renders your critics powerless. When your actions and accomplishments stand tall, no amount of negativity can overshadow them. The most powerful thing about success is that it doesn't require you to engage in arguments, defend yourself, or prove your worth. It simply proves itself. Your enemies may spread rumors, cast doubt, or try to sabotage your efforts. But when you consistently achieve your goals, their criticism becomes irrelevant. No one can argue with results. They may try, but the reality of your success will always stand as undeniable proof of your capability and determination. And the beauty of it is that you don't have to say a word. Your achievements do all the talking. Focusing on your own progress is one of the most effective ways to silence those who seek to undermine you. While they waste their energy trying to create obstacles, you are busy moving forward. The more you achieve, the less their words or actions matter. Criticism often stems from envy or fear. Fear that you might succeed. Fear that you will outgrow those who try to hold you back. By succeeding, you confirm their worst fears. And yet, it is not done with malice or revenge in mind. Your success is simply the result of focusing on your own path, your own goals, and refusing to be distracted by their negativity. Stoicism teaches us that we should focus on what is within our control, and one of the most empowering things we can control is our own effort. You may not be able to control the opinions of others, but you can control how hard you work, how determined you are, and how persistently you pursue your goals. Every step you take toward your goals brings you closer to success, and with each milestone, the noise of your critics fades further into the background. They may continue to talk, but you will be too focused on your own progress to notice. Success, in itself, is a form of resilience. It shows that no matter what obstacles are placed in your path, you are capable of rising above them. Your enemies may try to distract you, but when you stay focused on your goals, you demonstrate a level of discipline and perseverance that is beyond their reach. Success isn't just about reaching the finish line, it's about the journey, the small victories along the way, and the strength you build as you overcome each challenge. This kind of success is deeply satisfying because it is earned through consistent effort, and it becomes an unshakable testament to your abilities. One of the most liberating aspects of success is that it shifts the focus away from your critics. As you achieve more, their opinions become less relevant. While they may have once held power over you with their words or judgments, your success renders them insignificant. They can no longer claim that you are incapable because your accomplishments speak for themselves. In many cases, critics are silenced not because they have changed their minds, but because there is simply nothing left for them to criticize. They cannot deny the reality of your achievements, and in the face of undeniable success, their words lose all meaning. The act of succeeding also brings a deep sense of self-assurance. When you set goals and achieve them, you build confidence in your abilities. This confidence doesn't rely on the approval of others. It comes from within. You know that you are capable because you have proven it to yourself. This inner confidence makes you even less vulnerable to criticism. You no longer need validation from others because your success has already provided you with the validation you need. You become untouchable, not because you are beyond failure, but because you know that no failure is final. You have the strength and resilience to keep moving forward, no matter what. Success is also a way of outlasting your enemies. While they may try to hold you back in the short term, your long-term focus on your goals ensures that you will rise above their efforts. Many critics are focused on the moment. They want immediate reactions or to see you stumble in the present. But success is often the result of long-term commitment, persistence, and vision. When you keep your eyes on the bigger picture, your enemies' short-term tactics lose their power. They may win a few minor battles, but in the end, your success will far outlast their attempts to undermine you. There is also a subtle but powerful shift that happens when you achieve success. The very people who once criticized you may start to admire you. Success changes perceptions. Those who once doubted you or spoke ill of you may find themselves rethinking their positions as they witness your accomplishments. While Stoicism teaches us not to seek validation from others, it is an inevitable truth that success often turns critics into admirers. They may never admit it openly, but your achievements will force them to acknowledge, at least privately, that you have proven them wrong. In this way, success has a quiet yet profound way of transforming the narrative. Achieving your goals not only silences your critics, but also sets a powerful example for others. People take notice of those who succeed despite opposition. Your ability to stay focused and persevere through challenges becomes an inspiration to others who may be facing similar struggles. Your success is a reminder that obstacles can be overcome and that critics don't define your potential. This kind of success creates a ripple effect, encouraging others to pursue their own goals with the same determination. The pursuit of success also requires a deep level of focus and discipline, qualities that critics often lack. While your enemies may be busy trying to bring you down, you are busy honing your skills, developing your talents, and working toward your goals. This focus is what sets you apart. Instead of wasting energy on petty conflicts, you channel your energy into something constructive. Every hour spent working on your goals is an hour that your enemies lose in their attempts to distract or sabotage you. In the end, it is this focus and discipline that lead to your success, while your enemies are left with nothing to show for their efforts. Success also provides you with options and freedom. When you achieve your goals, you are no longer bound by the limitations that others try to impose on you. Your success opens doors, creates opportunities, and gives you the freedom to choose your own path. Critics often try to limit you by making you doubt your potential or by placing obstacles in your way. But when you succeed, you prove that their limitations were only illusions. You create your own reality, one that is shaped by your vision, hard work, and perseverance. In many ways, success is the ultimate form of revenge, not in a malicious sense, but in the sense that it is the most powerful way to prove your critics wrong. It doesn't require confrontation or argument. It doesn't require you to engage in their negativity. All it requires is that you stay focused on your own path and continue working toward your goals. As you rise, their words and actions fade into the background, becoming nothing more than echoes of an irrelevant past. Your success speaks louder than any insult or attack ever could. What's even more rewarding is that success allows you to rise above the very concept of revenge. As you achieve your goals and create a fulfilling life, you realize that your critics are no longer important. Their negativity no longer has a place in your world because you are too busy building something meaningful. Success not only silences your enemies, but also frees you from the need to think about them at all. You've outgrown them, and in doing so, you've outgrown the need for validation or retaliation. Ultimately, success is about much more than proving others wrong. It's about fulfilling your own potential and living a life that is meaningful to you. Your critics may have tried to stand in your way, but in the end, their opposition only made your success more satisfying. Every obstacle they placed in your path became another challenge to overcome, another step on the journey to achieving your goals. And with each success, you not only silenced them, but you also strengthened yourself, proving that you are capable of far more than they ever believed. As you continue to succeed, you will find that the noise of your critics becomes more and more distant. They may still try to criticize or undermine you, but their words will hold no weight in the face of your accomplishments. Your focus on your goals has elevated you to a place where their opinions no longer matter. Success has given you the ultimate power, the power to live your life on your own terms, free from the negativity and doubt of others. Success, when achieved through dedication and integrity, becomes its own form of justice. It not only silences your critics, but also serves as a reminder that hard work, perseverance, and a clear focus on your goals will always triumph over negativity and opposition. While your enemies may have tried to distract you, your success proves that you stayed true to your path, and in the end, that is the most powerful statement you can make. With each goal you achieve, you move further away from the petty criticisms of the past and closer to the life you've always envisioned for yourself. Success becomes your greatest shield, and your achievements the most eloquent answer to every doubt, insult, or attempt to bring you down. And in this, you find the ultimate victory, not over others, but over the limitations they tried to place on you. As you achieve success and silence your critics with your accomplishments, there's another approach that can be even more powerful in disarming hostility: kindness. It may seem counterintuitive, but responding to aggression with compassion can be one of the most effective ways to neutralize an enemy. In a world where conflict often escalates into bitterness and anger, kindness becomes a radical and disarming force. When people expect confrontation, retaliation, or cold indifference, and instead receive compassion, it unsettles them. This reaction is not about weakness or letting others take advantage of you. It's about showing that you have control over your own emotions and that their hostility has no power to change the way you act. Kindness is not the same as being passive or ignoring what's happening. It's an active choice to rise above the negativity and respond in a way that maintains your own peace. When you respond with kindness, you demonstrate that you are not ruled by anger or resentment. This undermines your enemy's efforts to provoke you. The Stoic approach to kindness isn't about allowing others to walk all over you. It's about maintaining your strength of character even when others lose theirs. Your kindness becomes a shield, a way to protect yourself from being drawn into the hostility that others want to create. Hostility often thrives on opposition. People who seek conflict expect their actions to be met with resistance or retaliation. They want to see their words sting, their actions wound. But when they are met with kindness instead, it disrupts their strategy. The power dynamic shifts. What was meant to be a conflict now turns into something else, something they cannot easily control. Your kindness diffuses their anger, making their attempts to provoke you seem unnecessary or even foolish. When you refuse to engage with their negativity, you strip away their power to influence you. Compassion has a transformative quality. It allows you to see beyond the surface of hostility and recognize the humanity in others, even in your enemies. Stoicism teaches that every person is struggling with their own burdens, their own inner battles. By offering kindness instead of retaliation, you acknowledge that the hostility directed at you may not even be about you. Your enemy might be reacting from a place of pain, insecurity, or fear. When you approach them with compassion, you stop seeing them as an enemy and begin to view them as a person who is suffering in their own way. This shift in perspective changes the dynamic of the relationship, making it harder for them to continue their attacks. Kindness, especially when unexpected, creates a ripple effect. It not only disarms your enemy, but also affects the people around you. When others witness your ability to respond with compassion in the face of hostility, they are inspired by your strength. This behavior sets a standard of how conflict can be handled in a more constructive and humane way. It encourages others to adopt a similar approach, fostering an environment where kindness and understanding replace anger and resentment. There is a deep inner strength that comes from choosing kindness. It requires you to stay grounded in your values and not be swayed by the emotions of others. It's easy to react in anger when someone is hostile toward you, but it takes true courage to remain calm and respond with compassion. This courage shows that you are in control, not your enemy. By choosing kindness, you demonstrate that their attempts to provoke or harm you have failed. Another powerful aspect of kindness is its ability to build bridges instead of walls. Hostility often creates divisions, deepening the sense of separation between you and your enemy. But kindness opens the possibility of understanding, communication, and even reconciliation. While you may not be able to change your enemy's perspective or behavior, you can create an opportunity for dialogue by showing that you are not interested in continuing the cycle of hostility. Kindness invites others to reflect on their own actions and offers them a way out of the conflict without losing face. Choosing kindness also brings peace to your own mind. When you react with anger or retaliation, even if justified, it can create inner turmoil. Stoicism teaches that our peace of mind is one of the most valuable things we possess, and we must protect it at all costs. By responding with kindness, you maintain your inner tranquility. You are not weighed down by the bitterness or resentment that often accompanies retaliation. Instead, you can walk away from the conflict, knowing that you acted in line with your values, that you didn't allow the actions of others to dictate your behavior. There's a certain freedom in knowing that your kindness is not dependent on how others treat you. It comes from within, from your own sense of integrity and self-respect. When you choose to respond with kindness, you free yourself from the need for revenge or justification. Your actions are no longer reactions to the behavior of others. They are a reflection of who you are. This internal freedom makes you even more resilient in the face of hostility, because you are no longer bound by the need to win or prove yourself right. Your kindness speaks for itself. People often underestimate the power of kindness because it is seen as a soft or passive response. But in reality, kindness is a profound form of strength. It takes great emotional resilience to offer compassion to someone who is trying to hurt you. When your enemy expects you to react with anger and you instead offer understanding, it confuses and disarms them. They are left wondering how to respond, because kindness breaks the cycle of hostility. This act of compassion shows that you are not playing by their rules, that you have chosen a higher path. One of the greatest advantages of kindness is that it often turns the hostility back on your enemy. When they are met with compassion, they may begin to feel shame or regret for their actions. Their attempts to hurt you may start to weigh on their conscience because your kindness highlights the unnecessary cruelty of their behavior. While not everyone will respond to kindness with change, many people do begin to reflect on their own actions when they are met with compassion rather than hostility. Kindness also shifts the focus away from the conflict and back to what truly matters. When you refuse to engage in a battle of anger, you redirect your energy toward more constructive things. You no longer waste time and effort on petty conflicts. Instead, you can focus on your goals, your peace of mind, and the relationships that bring you joy. Your enemy may continue their attempts to provoke you, but your kindness keeps you on a path of growth and progress, undistracted by their negativity. There's a reason why the Stoics placed such a high value on virtue, including kindness. Virtue is about living in accordance with reason and nature, and kindness is a natural extension of that. It is in our nature as human beings to seek harmony, to understand each other, and to foster compassion. When you practice kindness, you are living in alignment with this natural order, and that brings a sense of peace and fulfillment that cannot be achieved through retaliation or anger. At the core of Stoic philosophy is the idea that we cannot control the actions of others, only our own actions and responses. This is where kindness becomes so powerful. By choosing to be kind, you take full control of the situation. You are no longer at the mercy of your enemy's actions or words. Their hostility becomes irrelevant because you have already decided how you will respond, with compassion. This decision puts you in a position of strength because you are no longer reacting to the whims of others, but acting from a place of deliberate choice. Over time, your consistent practice of kindness can erode even the strongest hostility. It may not happen immediately, but kindness has a way of breaking down barriers that anger cannot. When you continue to show compassion, even in the face of repeated hostility, your enemy may begin to see that their actions are futile. They cannot provoke you, and they cannot get the reaction they seek. In many cases, this leads to a de-escalation of the conflict, because they realize that there is no point in continuing to fight against someone who refuses to engage in hostility. Kindness doesn't just transform your relationship with your enemies, it also transforms you. The more you practice compassion, the more you cultivate a sense of inner peace and emotional resilience. You become less reactive, more centered, and more focused on what truly matters in life. Kindness allows you to rise above the petty conflicts that often consume people, freeing you to live a life that is true to your values and your purpose. There's an undeniable strength in choosing kindness when it would be easier to react with anger. This strength doesn't just come from controlling your emotions, it comes from knowing that you are living in alignment with your highest values. Your kindness becomes a testament to your character, showing that you are not swayed by the actions of others, but are guided by your own principles. In this way, kindness is not just a response to hostility, it is a declaration of who you are. Through kindness, you reclaim your power. You show that no matter what others do, you will not be pulled into the cycle of hostility and negativity. You maintain your peace, your integrity, and your strength. And in doing so, you not only disarm your enemies, but also uplift yourself. The Stoic approach to kindness isn't about being passive or weak. It's about choosing a path of compassion that leads to inner strength and lasting peace. After using kindness to disarm hostility, you've witnessed the power of compassion in silencing your enemies. But there is another profound tool in Stoicism that further strengthens your position against those who oppose you: patience. In a world where everything seems to move fast and reactions are expected immediately, patience becomes a form of quiet resistance. Your enemies might seek to wear you down with relentless attacks, but when you practice endurance, you outlast them. Patience is not passive. It is an active form of strength, one that shows your adversaries that no matter how long they push, you will remain steadfast. Patience allows you to see the bigger picture. In the heat of a conflict, it's easy to become consumed by immediate frustrations or the urge to respond quickly. But Stoicism teaches that real power comes from the ability to wait, to endure without losing focus, and to understand that time often works in your favor. Your enemies might expect a reaction, hoping to provoke you into making hasty decisions or losing your temper. But when you remain patient, you show them that you are not governed by impulse, and this frustrates their attempts to manipulate you. There is a quiet power in refusing to be rushed. Patience grants you the ability to think clearly, to observe, and to plan your actions with precision. While your adversaries act out of urgency or desperation, you have the advantage of time. Time allows you to gather information, see how situations unfold, and respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. This patience unnerves your enemies because they realize they cannot force you into rash decisions. You've chosen to wait them out, and in doing so, you maintain control over the situation. Patience also fosters resilience. Life's challenges and conflicts can wear people down, but when you cultivate endurance, you become someone who can withstand the storms. Your adversaries may hope that by pushing long enough, you will break. But Stoic patience is about understanding that discomfort and difficulty are temporary. Every challenge you endure strengthens your resolve. Over time, your enemies will tire, but you will continue unshaken. Patience becomes your armor, protecting you from the frustrations and stress that might otherwise lead to poor decisions or burnout. What your enemies may not realize is that patience gives you the ability to adapt. When you refuse to rush or react prematurely, you give yourself time to adjust to new circumstances. Stoicism teaches that flexibility is key to endurance. Instead of being rigid and breaking under pressure, you become like a tree that bends in the wind but does not fall. This adaptability means that no matter how your enemies change their tactics or try to undermine you, you are always prepared to adjust your approach. Patience allows you to navigate challenges with a calm, steady mind, always ready for whatever comes next. Patience also sends a message to your adversaries. You are in this for the long haul. Many people are driven by short-term gains and immediate victories, but when you show that you are willing to endure for as long as it takes, you signal a level of commitment that is difficult to match. Your enemies may lose interest, become frustrated, or burn out while you remain focused on your long-term goals. This kind of endurance is not just about surviving the conflict, it's about thriving in it, knowing that your patience will outlast any attempts to derail you. One of the greatest strengths of patience is its ability to neutralize pressure. Adversaries often rely on creating a sense of urgency, forcing you to act before you are ready or to react emotionally under pressure. But patience removes this advantage from them. By refusing to be hurried, you take control of the timeline. You decide when and how to act, based on reason and strategy, not on the artificial urgency imposed by others. This frustrates those who seek to pressure you, as they realize that their tactics of rushing and pushing will not work on someone who has mastered patience. Another key element of Stoic patience is its focus on process over outcome. Stoicism teaches that while we cannot always control the outcomes, we can control the effort we put into the process. When you adopt this mindset, you no longer feel the need to rush toward a specific result. Instead, you trust that by remaining patient and consistent in your efforts, the outcome will take care of itself. This kind of patience is deeply liberating because it removes the anxiety that comes from trying to force things to happen. You understand that by staying the course, by enduring the challenges, you will ultimately achieve your goals. Patience also allows you to maintain your composure in the face of adversity. In conflicts, people often try to provoke you into reacting emotionally, hoping that you will lose your cool or make a mistake. But when you practice patience, you remain calm and centered. Your enemies may escalate their attacks, but you refuse to be drawn into their drama. This calmness becomes a source of strength, as your enemies grow more frustrated by their inability to rattle you. The more they push, the more your patience shows that their efforts are in vain. There is also a deep sense of peace that comes with patience. When you no longer feel rushed or pressured to act, you experience a sense of calm that allows you to focus on what truly matters. This inner peace is something that your enemies cannot disrupt. They may try to stir up chaos around you, but your patience keeps you grounded, preventing you from being pulled into their whirlwind of negativity. You maintain your focus, your clarity, and your sense of purpose, all because you have chosen to endure rather than react. Patience is not passive resignation. It is an active choice to wait for the right moment, to bide your time until the situation is ripe for action. It is about being deliberate in your decisions, knowing that acting too soon could jeopardize your success. Patience requires discipline and self-control, but it also brings immense rewards. When you wait for the right moment, you increase your chances of success, while your enemies, driven by impatience, are more likely to make mistakes. Your ability to endure also earns you respect, both from those around you and even, in some cases, from your enemies. People recognize the strength it takes to remain patient in difficult situations. They see that you are not easily swayed by external pressures and that you are capable of withstanding challenges with grace. This earns you a reputation as someone who can be relied upon, someone who does not crumble under stress. Even your enemies may come to admire your patience, realizing that you are not someone who can be easily defeated. One of the most important aspects of Stoic patience is the understanding that everything is temporary. The challenges, conflicts, and difficulties you face will not last forever. This perspective gives you the endurance to keep going, even when things are tough. You know that by outlasting the adversity, you will eventually emerge on the other side, stronger and more resilient. Patience allows you to weather the storm, confident in the knowledge that time is on your side. Patience also allows you to maintain your integrity in the face of opposition. In moments of conflict, there is often a temptation to cut corners, to take shortcuts, or to compromise your values in order to achieve a quick victory. But Stoic patience teaches that true success comes from staying true to your principles, even when the path is long and difficult. By enduring with patience, you protect your integrity, knowing that the long-term rewards of staying true to yourself far outweigh the short-term gains of acting impulsively. There is also a strategic advantage to patience. When you remain calm and wait for the right moment, you can observe your enemies, learn their tactics, and understand their weaknesses. Patience gives you the time to gather information and make informed decisions. While your enemies may act in haste, driven by the need for immediate results, you are able to move with intention and precision. This patience allows you to outmaneuver your adversaries, not through force, but through careful observation and thoughtful action. Patience is a form of quiet resistance. It shows your enemies that you are not easily swayed, that their attempts to pressure or provoke you will not succeed. By enduring with patience, you demonstrate a level of strength that goes beyond physical power or quick victories. You show that you have the mental and emotional fortitude to withstand whatever comes your way. And in the end, it is this endurance that will carry you to success, long after your enemies have given up. As you cultivate patience, you also cultivate a deeper understanding of yourself and the world around you. You become more attuned to the rhythms of life, recognizing that some things cannot be rushed. You learn to trust the process, knowing that by staying the course, you will achieve your goals in time. Patience teaches you to be present, to focus on the journey rather than the destination, and to find peace in the act of enduring. In the end, patience becomes one of your greatest weapons against adversity. It allows you to rise above the chaos, to remain steady in the face of conflict, and to outlast those who seek to undermine you. Your enemies may try to test your resolve, but with patience, you show them that you are unshakable. You endure not because you are waiting for their attacks to stop, but because you know that your strength comes from within, and no external force can break you. As you endure with patience, showing strength by outlasting your adversaries, there is yet another powerful tool you can wield: silence. While patience allows you to bide your time, silence gives you the ability to control the narrative without saying a word. In a world where people often rush to defend themselves, explain their actions, or retaliate, silence becomes a rare and powerful act of restraint. It is a strategy that catches your enemy off guard, leaving them unsure of how to proceed. They expect a response, a defense, or at least a reaction. But when you maintain silence, you deny them that satisfaction. In doing so, you frustrate their expectations and regain control. Silence can be more powerful than any argument. It speaks volumes, not through words, but through what it doesn't say. Your enemy might try to provoke you into a confrontation, hoping to lure you into a verbal battle. They may expect you to justify yourself, to fight back, or to engage with their accusations. But when you remain silent, you demonstrate that their words do not have power over you. This silence isn't about avoiding the situation or ignoring the problem. It is about refusing to be drawn into a conflict on their terms. You choose when and if you will speak, and that decision is a display of inner strength. Silence creates an uncomfortable void for your enemy. They are left wondering what you are thinking, whether their words affected you, and why you haven't responded. This uncertainty is unsettling because it takes away the control they thought they had. In many conflicts, people rely on reactions to gauge their next move. But when you remain silent, You offer no clues, no signals, no indication of how you might respond. This frustrates your enemy, as they are left in the dark, unsure of how to proceed. Another powerful aspect of silence is its ability to diffuse tension. Arguments and conflicts often escalate because both sides feel the need to outdo one another with words. The more each person talks, the more heated the situation becomes. But when you choose silence, you stop feeding the fire. Your restraint creates a pause, a moment of calm in the storm. In this space, the intensity of the conflict can begin to dissipate. Your enemy may grow frustrated by your refusal to engage, but they will also be forced to reconsider their approach, as they cannot continue the argument alone. Silence also allows you to maintain your dignity. When people attack you with words, it's easy to feel the urge to defend yourself, to explain your side of the story. But often, engaging in this way can drag you down to their level. By remaining silent, you rise above the noise. You show that you do not need to justify yourself or participate in their pettiness. Your silence becomes a statement of self-respect, a way of showing that you will not be pulled into a meaningless exchange. This restraint can be frustrating for your enemy, as they realize that no amount of provocation will make you react. Stoicism teaches that we should focus on what we can control, our own thoughts, actions, and reactions. Silence is a tool that puts this teaching into practice. When you choose silence, you are exercising control over your own responses. You are not allowing external events or people to dictate how you act. Instead, you decide that you will not be pulled into a conflict that serves no purpose. This level of control frustrates those who seek to manipulate you, as they cannot force you into a reaction. There is also a strategic advantage to silence. In many cases, saying too much can give away your position, reveal your thoughts, or provide your enemy with ammunition to use against you. Silence keeps your cards close to your chest. It allows you to observe the situation, gather information, and plan your next move without revealing your intentions. Your enemy may try to bait you into speaking, hoping that you will slip up or say something they can use against you. But when you remain silent, you deny them that opportunity. Your silence protects you from making unnecessary mistakes or giving away more than you intend. Silence also gives you time. When emotions run high, it's easy to say things in the heat of the moment that you later regret. By choosing silence, you give yourself space to think, to reflect, and to consider the best course of action. You are not rushed into responding immediately. This time allows you to approach the situation with a clear mind, rather than reacting out of anger or frustration. Your silence shows that you are in control of the timeline and that you will speak when you are ready, not when your enemy expects or demands it. In many ways, silence is a form of power. It shows that you are not swayed by the opinions or actions of others, that you do not need to prove yourself or seek validation. Your silence speaks to a deep confidence in yourself and your choices. It says that you are secure enough to let others talk without feeling the need to respond. This power unnerves your enemy because it reveals that their words do not affect you in the way they had hoped. They may continue their attempts to provoke you, but your silence will always stand as a reminder that you are not easily moved. Silence also has the ability to shift the focus away from you and back onto your enemy. When someone attacks you verbally or tries to draw you into a conflict, their words are often meant to put the spotlight on you. But when you don't respond, the attention shifts back to them. Their words hang in the air, unanswered, and they are left to deal with the weight of what they've said. In many cases, this can lead them to question their own behavior, as your silence forces them to reflect on their actions. Your refusal to engage makes it clear that the issue is not with you, but with them. There is also an element of surprise in silence. People often expect conflict to follow a certain pattern. An accusation is made, a defense is offered, and the argument escalates from there. But when you break this pattern with silence, it catches your enemy off guard. They don't know how to respond because the script they were following no longer applies. This disruption of expectations is frustrating for your enemy because it forces them to rethink their approach. They may try to escalate the conflict, but your silence remains a wall they cannot break through. Silence is not about avoiding conflict entirely. There are times when it is necessary to speak up and defend yourself or take a stand. But silence allows you to choose those moments carefully. It gives you the power to decide when and how to engage, rather than being pulled into every argument or attack. By maintaining silence, you show that you are not someone who can be easily provoked or manipulated. You reserve your words for when they will have the most impact, rather than wasting them on meaningless exchanges. There is also a certain freedom that comes with silence. When you choose not to respond, you free yourself from the need to defend your every action or justify your choices to others. You are no longer tied to the opinions or judgments of those who seek to undermine you. Your silence allows you to focus on your own path without being distracted by the noise of conflict. This freedom is something that your enemies cannot take from you, no matter how hard they try. Silence also cultivates a sense of inner peace. In moments of conflict, it's easy to become overwhelmed by anger, frustration, or the need to prove yourself. But when you choose silence, you protect your peace of mind. You are not dragged into the emotional turbulence of the conflict. Instead, you remain centered, knowing that your silence is a choice that reflects your strength and self-control. This peace is a powerful defense against the chaos that others may try to create around you. In the end, silence is a tool of mastery. It shows that you have mastered not only your emotions, but also your need for validation or recognition from others. Your silence speaks to a level of self-assurance that cannot be shaken by the words or actions of your enemies. They may try to provoke you, but your silence remains a testament to your strength. In this way, silence becomes a weapon that disarms those who seek to harm you, frustrating their expectations and leaving them with nothing to hold on to. As you continue on the path of Stoic resilience, silence becomes a valuable ally. It allows you to maintain control over your reactions, to protect your peace of mind, and to frustrate your enemies in ways they never anticipated. In a world filled with noise, arguments, and conflict, silence stands out as a powerful and deliberate choice. It shows that true strength lies not in how loudly you can speak, but in knowing when to remain silent. After mastering the art of silence and frustrating your enemy's expectations with restraint, there lies a deeper strength that Stoicism can offer you, turning adversity into an engine for growth. Life, at its core, is filled with challenges, obstacles, and difficulties. Your enemies too will seek to use these hardships against you, hoping to weaken your resolve. But the Stoic way shows a different path, one where every challenge becomes an opportunity to strengthen yourself. By embracing adversity, you not only rise above your enemies, but grow in ways that push you beyond their reach entirely. Adversity is often seen as something to avoid or fear, but the Stoics believed it was an inevitable part of life. It's not the hardships themselves that define us, but how we respond to them. When you adopt the mindset that every obstacle is a chance to build resilience, you take control of the situation. Instead of being broken by adversity, you are shaped by it. This perspective confounds your enemies because they expect their actions, or life's difficulties, to break you down. When you meet those challenges with strength, however, it not only disarms them, but propels you forward. One of the most empowering things about Stoicism is that it encourages you to see adversity as a tool for self-improvement. Challenges force you to confront your weaknesses, to grow in areas where you may have been complacent. This process isn't always easy. It can be painful and uncomfortable, but it is through this discomfort that true strength is forged. Your enemies may hope that adversity will destroy you, but when you use it to refine your character, they are left powerless. You turn what was meant to harm you into something that strengthens your resilience. Adversity also teaches patience and endurance. In moments of struggle, it's easy to become impatient, wanting the challenge to end quickly. But by enduring, by staying present through the difficulty, you develop a kind of inner strength that cannot be easily shaken. This patience frustrates your enemies because they expect you to falter, to lose your composure under pressure. But when you remain steady, embracing the hardship as a teacher, you show them that their efforts to break you are futile. Each moment of adversity becomes another opportunity to build your endurance, another step in growing beyond the reach of those who try to undermine you. There is a transformative power in facing adversity head-on. When you refuse to shy away from challenges, you show your enemies that you are not afraid. Fear is often the tool that adversaries use to manipulate and control others. But when you embrace the difficulties placed before you, fear loses its grip. You become someone who is not easily swayed by the uncertainties of life, someone who knows that every hardship is temporary and that on the other side of struggle lies growth. This mindset shifts the balance of power in your favor. Your enemies may throw obstacles in your path, but instead of being deterred, you grow stronger with each one. Stoic resilience is not just about surviving adversity, it's about using it to thrive. It's about understanding that hardships are not barriers, but stepping stones to becoming a more capable, wise, and grounded individual. Your enemies might expect adversity to wear you down, but when you use those moments to build mental and emotional toughness, they find themselves outmatched. You begin to thrive in situations where others might crumble, and that ability to turn adversity into a source of strength sets you apart, putting you beyond the reach of your enemies' attempts to control or harm you. One of the key elements of Stoic resilience is acceptance. This doesn't mean resignation or defeat, but rather the ability to accept what is outside of your control and focus on what you can change. Adversity often feels overwhelming because we waste energy trying to change things that are beyond our influence. But when you accept that certain events or challenges are simply part of life, you free yourself from the frustration that comes with resisting reality. This acceptance allows you to focus on what you can control: your thoughts, your actions, and your mindset. By doing this, you turn adversity into a manageable challenge rather than an insurmountable obstacle. The ability to grow through adversity also builds confidence. Each time you overcome a challenge, you prove to yourself that you are capable of handling whatever comes your way. This confidence becomes a shield against your enemies. They may continue to create difficulties for you, but your growing belief in your ability to endure and succeed renders their efforts ineffective. The more adversity you face and overcome, the less power your enemies have over you, because you've already proven to yourself that you can handle whatever they throw at you. Adversity can also clarify your priorities. When faced with hardship, you are often forced to reassess what truly matters in your life. This process of re-evaluation helps you shed distractions and focus on your core values and goals. Your enemies might try to scatter your attention or lead you away from your path, but adversity sharpens your focus. It reveals what is most important and strengthens your commitment to achieving your purpose. In this way, adversity not only builds resilience, but also ensures that you stay true to your vision, undeterred by the noise or attempts to derail you. There's a sense of empowerment that comes from knowing that adversity cannot defeat you. When you internalize the idea that every challenge is an opportunity for growth, you no longer fear what life or your enemies might bring. You understand that no matter how difficult the circumstances, you have the ability to adapt, to endure, and to grow stronger. This empowerment places you beyond the reach of those who seek to harm you, because they can no longer control you through fear or intimidation. You have mastered the art of using adversity to your advantage, and that mastery frees you from the influence of others. In the face of adversity, it is also important to maintain perspective. Stoicism teaches that we should not be overwhelmed by the enormity of a challenge, but instead break it down into manageable parts. This allows you to approach even the most daunting situations with a sense of calm and clarity. When you can break adversity down into smaller, more manageable steps, it becomes less intimidating. Your enemies may hope that the weight of the challenge will overwhelm you, but with the right perspective, you see it for what it is, a series of smaller tasks that, when approached with resilience, can be overcome. Adversity also creates opportunities for self-reflection and growth. In the midst of struggle, you are often forced to confront parts of yourself that you may not have been aware of. This self-awareness is crucial for growth. By facing adversity, you learn more about your strengths, your weaknesses, and the areas where you can improve. Your enemies might believe that adversity will expose your flaws, but what they don't realize is that this exposure is exactly what leads to your growth. By acknowledging and addressing your weaknesses, you become stronger, more self-assured, and less vulnerable to future challenges. The Stoic approach to adversity is not about avoiding pain or discomfort, but embracing it as part of the journey. Pain and hardship are inevitable, but suffering is optional. By changing your perspective on adversity, you reduce the suffering that comes with it. Instead of seeing hardship as something to be feared, you view it as a necessary step in your development. This shift in mindset is incredibly powerful because it removes the emotional burden that often accompanies challenges. You are no longer weighed down by the fear of failure or the discomfort of struggle. Instead, you welcome adversity as a teacher, knowing that it will help you grow. One of the most profound lessons of Stoicism is that adversity can reveal the best parts of ourselves. It is often in the most challenging moments that we discover our true strength, courage, and resilience. When life is easy, it is easy to remain complacent, but adversity forces us to dig deep, to find reserves of strength we didn't know we had. This discovery is empowering because it shows you that you are capable of far more than you might have believed. Your enemies may seek to test your limits, but what they fail to realize is that each test only makes you stronger. Through adversity, you also learn the value of perseverance. There will be times when the challenges seem insurmountable, when it feels like giving up would be the easier option. But Stoic resilience teaches that success is often found not in brilliance or talent, but in the ability to keep going, no matter what. Your enemies may hope that you will give up when the going gets tough, but your perseverance shows them that you are not easily defeated. You are willing to endure, to keep pushing forward, even when the path is difficult. This perseverance is what ultimately leads to success, putting you beyond the reach of those who hope to see you fail. Adversity also strengthens your relationships with others. When you face challenges, you often discover who your true allies are, the people who stand by you, support you, and help you through difficult times. These relationships become a source of strength, reinforcing your resilience. Your enemies may try to isolate you or create division, but adversity often brings people closer together. It builds trust, loyalty, and a sense of shared purpose. This network of support not only helps you overcome challenges, but also ensures that you are never truly alone in your struggles. In the end, adversity becomes a gift. It may not feel that way in the moment, but each challenge you face and overcome adds to your strength, wisdom, and resilience. Your enemies may believe that adversity will break you, but Stoic resilience shows that it is through adversity that you are made stronger. You grow beyond the limitations they tried to impose on you, rising above their reach. Adversity becomes the fuel that drives your growth, the fire that tempers your spirit, and the force that propels you toward becoming the best version of yourself. By turning adversity into strength, you not only disarm your enemies, but also rise to a level where their attempts to harm you become irrelevant. You are no longer playing by their rules or reacting to their provocations. Instead, you are using every challenge, every hardship, to grow, to strengthen yourself, and to move closer to your goals. This resilience places you far beyond the reach of those who seek to undermine you, and in doing so, you find a power that cannot be taken away. The path of Stoicism offers a way to overcome your enemies without ever engaging in battle. Through mastering your emotions, living with integrity, practicing indifference, and achieving success, you disarm their malice and rise above their reach. With kindness, patience, and silence, you frustrate their expectations and transform adversity into your greatest strength. Each of these principles serves as a powerful weapon, not to destroy your enemies physically, but to dismantle their influence over your life. You emerge stronger, wiser, and untouchable, not because you fought them, but because you chose a higher path, a path of resilience, virtue, and peace. If these strategies have inspired you or made you rethink how you approach conflict, leave a comment below. Let us know which principle resonated with you the most, or share your own story of overcoming adversity through Stoicism. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Together, we'll continue to explore these timeless philosophies, empowering you to live a life of strength and wisdom. Click the bell so you never miss out on our next video. Stay strong, stay wise.